Yo, I'm so happy every time I do this. Like Dreamville finally dropped a single. That's crazy to me, right? Because Dreamville as a label seems crazy for me the way that they did this. And two of my favorites from this label decided to drop a single, which I think which I've been thinking about because this single is 2 minutes long, and I think they should have created a song that is at least 3 to 5 minutes long, just because how creative I think the wordplay would have been between these two. So Lute and J.I.D decided to release a single called "My Boy," and it's M.A. My Boy. I think it's a Southern thing. It truly, I think it's a Southern United States thing because I don't think, or more like a slang term, but it's not really a slang term. I have debated on this title for maybe an hour or two, where originally they got the spelling for this song, and I don't know. So this will probably be released on Sunday. Looking at it because I'm still editing some of these clips. I'm still editing what version I'm gonna put in here for what the term "my bae" means. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So J.I.D and Lute, they dropped a single called "My Bae," which my boy. Sorry, my boy. It doesn't know "My Boy," and it's supposed to be on Creed 3, Creed 3 or 4. I don't watch the Creed movies, so I think it's Creed 3.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
J.I.D's verse. J.I.D opens this up, and he says it at the very end of the song. But he says, "That's my boy. I wrote a hook for." Right, and so this is that. I think that's this hook. I think that it's either this hook or it's on a Cole's album that Cole's creating. He wrote a hook, which to that's still amazing to me. Anyway, so I wasn't expecting anything from Dreamville at all. Up to Cole's album release, but. So J.I.D, his first speech from this track that is 2 minutes and 48 seconds long. He goes, "This is my time for a draw. This is my time for a draw. This is my time for a draw." Right. So that's just the comparison between whoever people putting J.I.D against, because I think J.I.D is in his own lane. Right. He says, "This is the time to put down. This is the time for a draw." Almost like you cannot compete with my wordplay, but we don't consider this a draw, right? Like that's the motivation I got from this song right here, right? It's crazy, right? Anyway, a few lines later, he goes, "I throw a TD to my boy." Like I throw this song is mostly from his boy standpoint, right? His brother, somebody he's very close with. I had to simplify it because I ran into everybody had to simplify it. But he says, "I throw my boy a touchdown," which when I heard TD, I had to rewind it because he said TD, and there was now I ain't trying to cause no beef, but when he said, "I throw a TD," right? I was thinking, oh, he threw top like an altercation, but he was talking about a touchdown, like of course in football. Because he said he scored, and he said they scored, which to be known, it is true. J.I.D scored on one of the best labels. If you ask me, I don't know what's in his contracts, right? Putting J.I.D into the mainstream media is something that I think he's done. He's made it to that league, and he did score a touchdown, and I think that what he was done to was J.I.D. Like he threw Cole first and Cole, and but that's what I assume that verse is about. Now I'm not entirely sure, right? He says, "That's my brother." Yeah, he said, "That's my brother. That's my brother. Play it cool. That's like play it cool because that's my brother, right? Play it cool. That's my brother." He a fool, a tool, and a loose screw. Almost like he kind of crazy a little bit, which I get it because he said a loose screw, and Southern people normally go, "Hey, he a loose screw," he has a screw or something loose, right? So that's where I get that reference from. When he a fool, sometimes he make jokes sometimes, And this next line is going to make me like J.I.D's wordplay a little bit more because he says, "Picking me or not picking me, either way is a lose lose." Right? Because okay, so this is my thing, and I've said this about a few artists, right? But if you didn't pick up J.I.D or were deciding to pick up J.I.D, when he was trying to become mainstream and signed to a label, you miss out because J.I.D can rap. I'm sorry, J.I.D can rap. He's a newer generation, but he can rap. Like I think he's one of the most talented rappers currently that can rap. And so when he says that, right, he says it's a lose, either way it's a lose lose because if I don't pick you and you pick me, it's a lose lose. Like I'm looking for the best interest of myself, right? He mentions this line of trauma and trouble. He says we just pregnant with the same people we grew up in. Same people we was playing Duck Duck Goose with, which Duck, that where you pat people on the head and run in a circle. I think it was more an American thing. I think it was something else. But it's unique to hear that. I think to me, right? It's you go through struggles and we're just gonna make a way to make it better and do better stuff with this knowledge that we have. Okay, so this is another reason why J.I.D will be he relates to people, and I do like this because he said ugly scars, he says ugly wounds will be beautiful soon, right? And so it reminds you if you've been struggling with anything trenches, if you've been dealing with issues, if you've been dealing with anything, right? Once you get out of them scars and once the situation or whatever turns itself over, it'll be beautiful on the other side. He said, trust him. And I can tell you now, from being in one of those situations before, it gets better. Trust me. Trust him. Because it's a miracle to look at, but it doesn't seem possible when you're in that situation. But when you get out of that situation, oh my God, does it feel like a miracle. It does. It truly does feel like a miracle. Now, this verse is more of that Hollywood kind of informal, where he says, switching lanes in Miami, right? Which is clear. He says everyone's lived off the hype and young fresh people in the game. Which to some extent he says, and some things never change. And I think this is directed at the industry of rap. Like there are a lot of artists that aren't okay with their contracts, but years before there artists that weren't okay with their contracts. So it's just happening again. Y'all are signing deals, signing labels because you think they're gonna make you famous and push money out towards you. And that's what I'm saying. You're riding the hype. That's cool, but you just sold your royalties. You just sold your marketing. You just sold your publishing. You just, you saw it. It's just because you were riding the hype and you was blowing the money. And he said things will never change, right? Which is weird because he says we're not the same, and I think that's true. There are, especially on that Dreamville roster. I know I'm overhyping Dreamville, but that Dreamville roster, they done been through some things, right? That Dreamville roster has been through some things, and they're not the same, right? Because I can guarantee you, they're all getting money. They're all getting a lot of money because J. Cole and J.I.D and I can't think of the guy, but him and J.I.D co-own Dreamville, and Dreamville signed to Warner? Anyway, they're making money because they're being buying artists, and J. Cole's probably wising them up, and they're wising up with their money. He says, "My heart is cold like the Atlantic Ocean," which I think is a clever line because some people when you mess with somebody's heart, of course they become a cold-hearted person. He's cold like the Atlantic Ocean. Like it's hard to get to the center, and it's cold. Which I do like that word on play. He says, "I've been the same guy since I landed," which I think is right because you see a lot of artists, and this is why I'm thinking he made this the way he rhymed it. But it's a lot of artists they get famous or whatever, and then they don't. They don't end up saying anything. They change and they start blowing their money, or and it comes to this concept of people say that money doesn't change you. It just makes you it makes you more of the person you were. And that's why I think he said, "I've been that guy since I've landed." I'm used to getting it out the dirt, which that line is still clever to me. That line will always be clever to me because it is true for a lot of people. Me included. There's a lot of people that had to do certain situations to get out of a situation that they were in, right? And to make it to where they didn't have to do a situation like this message is deep. Like it's definitely like a 9 out of 10 for me because the song is deep. But if it's for Creed 3, I get it because there are certain, especially soundtracks for albums that are soundtracks for movies that are great, and then they don't get you this hype. But this song will probably get you hype if you hear it in Creed 3. This, I promise you, if this is the lead single or whatever this is, or whatever the scene is, this relates to it. But this right here is a 9 out of 10 for me, and this is a great way to start the year for me, right? Because this is what I needed to push myself forward this year. So overall, I do like this a lot. I do like this, especially coming from Dreamville early. I like this, but it does make me wonder what Dreamville has coming this year. Like, because I can only imagine it only goes up from here. I can only imagine it does. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I don't say that. But it does. But this right here is great. I do love this. I do love this song. Oh, I love this song right here. This right here, 9 out of 10. It ain't perfect, but it's 9 out of 10 for sure. But I definitely see you in the next episode. But that was J.I.D and Lute and that Dreamville single that just dropped. Like, I'm so happy for it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I'm sorry, but I'll definitely see you in the next one.